Boom. All right, ladies and gentlemen, from duplexes to massive apartment complexes, today we're going to dive deep into the journey of a real estate mogul. Let's get this one started. Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
Look, a business can give you everything you want in life: prestige, wealth, freedom. It can also take everything away from you. This show is for those who are willing to take that risk. These are the real life stories of entrepreneurs. But before we start, I have one small favor to ask. Please leave a comment. It can be advice, critiques, tips, feedback, or share this with someone because your engagement is the most valuable and most powerful form of social currency. So thank you, and welcome to another episode of Business Bros. Hey Business Bros, in today's episode we're diving into the world of real estate with a guest who has transformed landscapes and lives. With over 20 years under his belt, our guest has not only built a real estate empire across the Midwest, but has also extended his success to touch the lives of those in need, from thousands of apartment units to providing a comforting haven for cancer patients. His journey is a testament to the power of combining passion with action. Get ready to be inspired by the story of a man whose investments go beyond financial, creating a lasting impact in communities and individuals alike. So join us in welcoming the visionary behind Onward Equity and SON Foundation, or the Sun Foundation, Mr. Scott Jacobson. All right, Scott, let's get this party started, man. Welcome to the program.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me. That was a great intro. Appreciate it.
Anytime, my friend. The fire intro is all for you. All right, let's do this. You have a unique journey into real estate. Before we even dive into the journey, so people understand exactly what you do, can you explain that to us?
Sure. Well, I kind of break up in the terms of real estate. I kind of break up my journey in at least a couple different buckets. Number one was, you mentioned, from single family duplexes. That was probably the first, or that was the first, like 15 or so years of my journey. And it's part of it's because I really had no idea that you could do more than that, or you could think bigger than that. Or at least I didn't know how to do it. And I was introduced to that world in 2016. So from 2016 until now, I've been thinking a little bit more, I guess you'd say bigger, at least scaling up a little bit, thinking multifamily. I've had some apartment buildings that I've owned personally, an office building owned personally. And then for the last 2.5 years or so, my focus has been on larger multifamily, the syndication route, working with team members, working with investors to help kind of take down and make things, bigger things possible than I could do on my own, certainly.
My mute button happened. Sorry, I don't know how that happened. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
There we go. All right. So, you got introduced to real estate. Now, what I was saying was I don't know what's going on here. Macs are acting up. My phone is deciding to hook up to my computer at the same time.
I hate it when that happens.
Apple does its thing. All right, let me just turn this off so it doesn't bother us anymore. Makes it super easy. All right. So when you get into real estate, your very first investment was obviously a learning curve, and you were able to kind of grow and scale from there. You got into multifamily, but with any business, there's always challenges that you need to overcome, things that get in the way, learning curves and stuff like that. What would you say were some of the most significant challenges that you faced when you got into real estate that you have now overcome?
Yeah, it's a good question. For me, I would say the first thing that comes to mind is I was young. I was 22, so less than a year out of college when I had the opportunity, a great opportunity, to buy my first house. Just kind of fell in my lap. It was at the university where I went to school, where I graduated from, Butler University in Indianapolis, and my friend's dad owned it. She had lived in it while she was going to school, and it just kind of happened. But I was lucky for that particular house. I had a little bit of money saved up, and I was able to get a low down payment home. But after that, I wanted to keep going because I discovered how awesome rental property was. As I filed my taxes that year and got a refund, which I had a bigger refund than I ever gotten, I'm like, well, this is the way to do it. This is the secret to life, is rental property. So the biggest challenge, though, for growing from that point was I was 22, so I had a couple of things working against me. Number one, dollars, financing. I didn't have a whole lot of credit history, and after that first house, I had nothing left really to come up with a down payment. And then if I wanted other tenants, what I would say real tenants, not just students, had to be taken seriously. So as a 22-year-old working with tenants who were, literally twice my age, getting them to take me seriously and trust me that I was going to take good care of the house and make it a good living situation for them was, it was difficult at times, but I also think I won some people over. And at the end, I remember one particular couple said, you're the best landlord we've ever had, I think. So it proved that my struggle was worth it, and putting them first.
No, it's funny. You were 22 years old into real estate. Not very many people get to experience that. I too was one of those young ones. I bought my first house when I was 20, and that opened my eyes, just like you, to a bunch of different opportunities. I ended up buying another property in Vegas. I ended up doing flipping some properties. But I remember after buying that very first property, I wanted to learn more, and I went to a training. Well, I got suckered in, right? I went to one of those roo-rah. I don't know, technical difficulties today. My bad. I don't know. It just clicks over here. So anyways, I went to the hotel. I had one of those rah-rah things, and they sold me on a training, and I went and I show up, and I'm like you, the youngest kid there. I'm 20 years old, 21 years old at the time. Everybody there is at least twice my age trying to learn what I wanted to do. For people to take me seriously, it was a little weird. It was a little tough. How do you take this young kid seriously? But the numbers and what you ended up doing definitely started to show, okay, this kid knows what he's talking about. Okay, this kid's actually taking action. And it opened up so many doors for me. You went into syndication after that. What was that experience like, going from buying your first place to going into syndication? Because I know it's a whole different ball game when you start going. These commercial things. I'm sorry, so apologize for that. This doesn't normally happen.
No worries.
So what was your experience going into syndication?
The biggest thing that comes to mind there is what I had done on my own was just that. It was on my own. So it was my own time, most of my own money, my own stress. And when something went wrong, because inevitably things go wrong, right? When something goes wrong, it was my fault that it happened, or at least my problem to deal with, right? And syndications, it's much more of a team sport, and it has to be, because the numbers are bigger, the properties are bigger. It takes a lot more people on your team, on your side, to help make it work. So that was the biggest thing that I had to get used to, was not just team members like on the general partnership side that I'm directly working with, but also bringing in outside investors. That was a big mindset shift for me, is getting comfortable essentially not asking people for money, but offering opportunities for others to come alongside us, invest alongside with us in these opportunities that a lot of people don't even know exists, right? A lot of people only know I can invest with my 401k or my IRA. They don't even know that, they don't know. And it's by design. I think the system is designed to not let people realize that they have more options than that. So once I realized that I could take more of an educational role and teach other people, let other people know kind of how good this has been to me, for my literally changed my financial life for myself and my family. It became easier to go out and talk to people and say, hey, here's an opportunity. It may resonate, it may not, but you need to know about it.
Yeah. For you to share in your investment capabilities, your ability for you to help other people make money, I think it really gives more of a purpose to your investment strategy, right? Because on the one hand, you're making money for yourself, and that's awesome, and that's great. But when you're able to teach other people and kind of help others elevate their lifestyle, it gives you a little bit more purpose. Let me ask you about your impact in the real estate community. How do you feel you had like a positive impact? You ended up doing other things on top of just the real estate stuff, right?
Absolutely. And for any particular asset, whether it's a home, a duplex, or a 100-unit apartment building, certainly the goal is to make these units that people are going to be proud to come home to, right? Because happy tenants, proud tenants, they'll tell their friends, they'll renew their leases, that kind of thing. So I've never wanted to be a landlord that you drive by our property, you go walk around the property and you want to throw up because it's just a trashy kind of area, because that's not the kind of property that I want to provide, because that's not the kind of tenants I want to provide for or cater to. So certainly improving the communities in that regard by one property at a time, so to speak, has always been high on my list. And then another way we've given back is through a not-for-profit that we created in 2012. That was due to the experience, the confidence that I had having invested in real estate prior to that. It's what made that possible. We essentially provide lodging for cancer patients that come into Indianapolis, where we're from, for treatment. So that's been a way to use real estate as a stepping stone to making a bigger impact. It's much bigger than us as individuals.
And that's the Sun Foundation, right?
That's the Sun Foundation that you mentioned. Yep.
Is there any reason why you went that route? Like, what's the origin story there? Like, why? I mean, you could have done a number of different things with real estate. There, people do all kinds of stuff. Why'd you end up going that route?
Yeah, it's one of those stories where it's kind of taking something bad and trying to make something good about it, or trying to create something good from it. So my wife's best friend at that time was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer at the age of 33. And so she, of course, was going through treatment, and my wife was taking all her spare time to help drive her friend Tiffany to and from the treatments, or just help the family in any way she could, because many people have been touched by cancer, and they probably realize that your life turns upside down at that point. You need a lot more, you need help from your community. And so when we had it was a random kind of light bulb moment. We said, maybe this was going to be the new kind of career path for my wife, that we knew we couldn't go out and buy a big apartment building at that point in our journey. But hey, let's buy a house and let cancer patients live there. So that's what we did. It took us a little bit of time to figure out, but we had some amazing people come along with us. And essentially we bought a 6-bedroom, 4-bath house downtown Indianapolis. And that was about 11 years ago. We've provided over, I honestly, I'm not sure if it's right, just above or just below 9,000 nights of lodging that we've provided to cancer patients since then. So it's pretty incredible hearing the stories of, they don't know what they'll do. Some people have literally lived in their car, stayed in their car without a place to go, because hotels, we all know, are expensive. Paying for parking downtown the city it adds up. So it's kind of a port in the storm for our guests.
It definitely does. I always talk about how when my mom passes away, hopefully it's many, many years from now, but I'm going to have a hard time paying for that funeral because of the number of lives that she's touched. She runs a food bank. They feed now like 660 families every couple weeks. Like it's just her way of giving back. And I feel like you're on that same path. You're over here helping people in one of the toughest times when their resources tend to be very limited, and you're giving them an opportunity to be comfortable. Like you're literally helping people through those times. So, same with you, hopefully, not anytime soon, but if if and when you pass away, you're going to see that impact of all the people who are grateful for the things that you've done. And I think that really gives business owners and aspiring entrepreneurs kind of that idea of, what are you doing this for? And the purpose that drives you to continue to succeed. Let's jump back into the real estate side in trends. I mean, we're living in a time where we have inflationary periods. We have interest rates that are rising. We've just gone through some of the biggest real estate booms. How have these trends helped or hurt, or you've learned from while being in this real estate position? How did they help you maybe with positioning your investments or with the future investments that you're looking at?
It's a great question, and a lot of times we don't know the answer until like down the road, right? Did whatever we were thinking at the time, did it work out or not? So the crystal ball is always nice, but for me, you mentioned some kind of historic boom time. Certainly, a big part of the last, say, 10 years have been incredible opportunities to be in real estate investors, and almost to the extent, and in a lot of ways, you didn't even have to do anything right. You just had to have bought real estate and and then wait, a couple years or a few years, and then you sell it for more, and you look like a genius. I think clearly that tide is turning a little bit now, where the rising interest rates certainly put a kibosh on a lot of that, or at least made it difficult for those who, prior to that, say 2 years prior, 3 years prior, had thought, all right, when 2022 comes, I'm just going to refinance. It'll be nice and low rate, and we'll pull a bunch of money out, and all will be great. Well, they didn't kind of see that coming, right? And I think we're still in the middle of that. Some of these maybe refinances coming this year as well, loans maturing, and unfortunately, I think a lot of people might be in a situation where they're going to be in trouble. And while we never want to take advantage of people's downtimes or trouble, people in trouble, I think it will present some opportunities to come out and come in and maybe play savior, so to speak, or at least come in and do something good for our investors and do something good for them as well, kind of help them out of a bad spot. So I'm looking forward to this year, maybe even more so the second half of this year. I think there's going to be some good opportunities coming, and it's always got to be, for me, it's always got to be conservative underwriting. And everyone says that it's harder to do because you still want to go out and get deals, right? If you get too conservative, you're not gonna win anything. So there's a balance there, but we never want to have to expect or demand perfection in order to not get totally destroyed by our investment. So that's a balancing act.
Very true, very true. And if you talk to anybody in the real estate world, they're always going to tell you there's up markets and there's down markets, there's stagnant markets, and regardless of where we are in that up, down, or in the middle, there are still buyers and there are still sellers. So it's still opportunities in the real estate space, especially if you want to become a real estate investor or get into real estate at any point. So what advice would you give to someone looking to start investing in real estate today? Even though prices are high, interest rates are high, there's still opportunities out there. What advice would you give people?
Such a great point you just made, because in any time, is it a down market? Is it an up market? I don't know. It depends on the numbers. So any particular deal, right now interest rates are high, but I think the numbers between buyers and sellers' expectations are starting to come a little bit more in line. And that means what makes sense for a deal is if it works with today's interest rates, whatever those are, whether it starts with a 6 or a 7 or even an 8, then it's going to be a good deal. So I think that the best advice I can think to give anybody at any point, I don't care what market it is just take action. Do your homework, be educated, be conservative, but you got to do something. At some point, you can only learn so much before you do, and then you're going to learn a whole lot more by doing. So take action, and don't do it alone. Bring in somebody that you're comfortable with, that has the experience, that maybe you can learn from them, shadow them a little bit if possible. But at some point, take action.
I agree with you. Some skin in the game goes a long way, even if you lose at the very beginning, which hopefully you're working with a mentor who's been doing it and you don't lose at the very beginning. But even if you do, it's some of the greatest lessons that you're going to have. I know I'm in education, but the cost of higher education is ridiculous. And sometimes putting some money in the game, you learn a lot more being in action than you do, opening those textbooks a little bit. So what's the future of Onward Equity? What's your next step? You got any upcoming projects or expansions you're particularly excited about?
Absolutely. Still working in the syndication game. We're putting in a lot of offers between some teammates and I. We're looking at generally our preferred at kind of start over anywhere from say 30 units to 150 is what we're looking at. I know it's a big range, but I kind of think of it also in different boxes. One will syndicate, and one will maybe keep more as privately held, a joint venture opportunity, but always looking for opportunities that I want to bring opportunities to our investors, because it's been a good last couple of years, but I know that this year's going to lead to good opportunities as well. And we don't focus necessarily on any particular part of the country, but if the numbers work out, then it works out.
That's the beauty of real estate. It's always about that exit strategy, right? When you get into a real estate transaction, you always have the exit strategy in mind. It might change as you're working through it, but you already know what the end result is that you're looking for. The numbers got to make sense to match that end result. All right. Well, looking forward, what legacy do you hope to leave behind in real estate, in the real estate world, maybe as both an investor and as a philanthropist?
I want to be someone who takes good care of our tenants, number one, because like I said, I never want to have to drive by our property and say that's mine, and it makes me want to throw up. So I want to take good care of our property, which I think takes good care of the tenants, and then ultimately it's going to take good care of our investors as well. So I want to be someone that someone trusts to make good decisions for them. You know, if I'm bringing in outside investors, their hard-earned money, I want someone to trust me 100% with that. Now, that being said, it's real life, so things don't always go exactly as we want them to go. But for the most part, I want to be someone that someone can look to as, hey, I want to be like that guy, in the sense that making smart investments and doing something bigger than themselves as well. Like you mentioned, the philanthropy side. I think ultimately it's not about me, the Sun Foundation. It's not about me. It's about being something bigger than just ourselves, and providing for the greater good of humankind. Because if we can help those who are at a low point in their life, which that's what they are when going through cancer treatment, then we all win in that case. So that's what I'm really looking forward to.
I agree with you, man. Helping people is probably one of the most selfish things you can do, because the joy that you find in helping other people, I don't think there's no match to what it brings into your life if you're able to help others achieve whatever it is that they're looking to achieve. In your case, just making people comfortable and giving them the opportunity to, if it's the last days of their lives, be as comfortable as they can be. And if it's on the path to recovery, being as comfortable as they can be while they get back on their feet. If people want to reach out, they want to find out more about maybe any type of investment that you have open, or syndications that are available, or just to look into your portfolio, how can they do that?
Yep, our website is the best way to do that. The company is called Onward Equity, and the website is just www.onward-equity.com. Love to work with anybody who wants to just learn more about syndication. I've got a pop-up that'll come on the website. When you come up there, it's an offer for a free ebook that I wrote, Top 10 Reasons to be a Passive Investor in Real Estate. And a lot of them, any opportunities we can't necessarily tell just anybody. We have to have a relationship with. So I would encourage you to reach out, sign up for that free ebook, and it'll put you on our newsletter as well. I try to send something out on a weekly basis, definitely focused on educating, whether it's about just investing in general, investing in real estate, just try to educate as much as possible.
Boom. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, look, I know getting into real estate can be scary. It's a lot of money that goes into these things. And maybe you're at the beginning of the space where you're a rookie. You just don't know what you don't know. This is why you want to work with mentors just like Scott here, because at the end of the day, he's already done what you want to achieve. Right. And that's the people that you ultimately want to work with. There was a time when Scott was the rookie too. We just talked about it. 22 years old, didn't know what he was doing, looked up to mentors. And now, just like the Jedi's full circle, now he's become the master who's out here to help you. So young Jedi is looking to get into real estate. Make sure you guys go to onward-equity.com, onward-equity.com. Reach out to Scott, find out what he's got going on. Start educating yourself in the real estate space. You learn to speak the language. You learn to work with mentors. You learn to change your financial future. Scott, thank you very much for being on the program today. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. And we're out.
It's over. Go home.
Is your business in need of marketing? Try starting a podcast. But not just any podcast. Podcast like a pro. We can show you how to take your business from being invisible to becoming a brand people trust. Go to www.businessbros.biz to get started today.